Yeah, we're starting on a new project today. We're helping a friend out who's got this nice 63 Avanti, and it's been in the garage for a little bit, and we're going to tidy it up and see if we can get this thing started. It's got a little bit of dirt, but nothing too bad. And this is an R2 car. So we got the battery on the charger. We're gonna see if she'll turn over. And if not, we'll go out and we'll get another battery for it. So just getting started on this. Well, no luck on getting the battery to take a charge, so we're going to pull this out and go down to a battery shop. These are kind of unique batteries, very long and skinny. So we'll get this one out and we'll run down to the battery shop. Now we're about halfway in and out of the sun here, so apologize for the lighting, but we're going to take a little soap and water to the front here and just tidy it up before we get too far into this, just so that we're not rubbing any dirt into the paint. So we're gonna take our bucket and just get her cleaned up a little bit. Yeah, she's cleaning up nice. She's getting a little bit of the dirt off. You can see a little bit of the difference there, side to side. It's cleaning up really nice. And I got a little bit done on the hood. So just enough to get us started, and then we're starting to get the battery apart, so I'll finish pulling that out. Now we're off to the battery shop and we'll go get a replacement for this. Nice to have a good battery shop just a couple minutes down the road. Had exactly the same battery, same dimensions, same post location, so that makes the swap real easy. So this baby's fully charged. We're going to put her in, see what happens. I'm slowly getting the dirt off of it. Starting to shine again. Looking pretty good. Now we did get the new battery, and I've installed that, but right now when I hit the key, starter solenoid just clicks. So there's the new battery installed. So I'm going to take a look at putting a new starter solenoid in it and cleaning up these cables a little bit. Look down at the solenoid, it's down underneath the master cylinder, and wiring is pretty corroded. So I'll clean all that up, throw another solenoid on since I got a box of them, and it never hurts to change that out. But hopefully we'll get this thing running. But at least we got the heavy crud off of it. It's looking good. And the front end, sorry for the change in light. Looking pretty good there, so off to a good start. Brake fluid was low, so we got that topped off. Just topped off the coolant. That took about a gallon, and it's probably still putting some air bubbles out. So now we're going to check the oil, check the power steering fluid, and check the supercharger. I think I checked the supercharger last time and it was okay, but we'll make sure that's good before we really start cranking on this thing. So just making sure we got fluids topped off. I'll probably pop the bonnet off the carburetor because I'll probably be putting some gas down there to get her started. So just making the rounds. I kept clicking on the starter solenoid, and every once in a while the starter would catch, so I kept doing that, hoping that we would be cleaning those contacts a little bit and getting it going, and I was able to get it to crank. And I let it crank until we got some fuel up, and fuel started squirting out of the flex lines attached to the fuel filter. So those may be dry rotted or leaking a little bit, so I'm going to go pick up a new fuel filter for it and some new rubber lines. We'll put that on, but we are getting fuel up to the carburetor, so that's good news, and we got it cranking now, so that's good news. So one more trip to the auto parts store. Okay, we've got the fuel filter on and we've cranked it a little more, so now we're going to put a shot of starting fluid in it, and we're going to see if it cranks from the car. We've been cranking it off the solenoid, but we're going to see if it cranks from inside the car. So let's give that a try here real quick. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh yeah. Okay, let's try a little starting fluid and see if she'll light. Okay, here we go. That's a good sign. That's starting fluid, but we'll see if we can get it to run on fuel. So, making progress. Okay, here we go again. Here we go. So if we can get fuel to stay up in the carburetor, I think we got this thing going. There we go. A couple shots of starter fluid, so we got some fuel up to the carburetor, and now she's running. Kick the idle up a little bit just to make sure it will keep running. Let's take a look at the gauges. Oil pressure's looking good. Hopefully the fuel gauge is working and it's actually that low so we can put fresh fuel in it. Looks like the battery, even though it's brand new, is charging up. And water temp, we're getting some temp out of it, so up and running. I'm going to let it warm up a little bit, maybe throw some fresh fuel down it. We'll see how that goes. Well, we managed to get it home. It was not an easy task. We got it started up in their garage again and got it running, and we made it to the gas station, put 9 gallons in it, premium, then made it maybe 10 miles total, maybe 15, and all of a sudden it just sputtered and quit. And took the new fuel filter out and shook it, and lots of rust and crud came out of it, and some look like plastic pieces. So I'm wondering if the fuel pump diaphragm may be shot, or if we just have a lot of crud in the fuel system. So we gave up. We wound up towing it here. And now I'm going to take and just put some fuel. There's nothing coming into the carburetor, no fuel making it up to the carburetor. So I'm going to fill the float bowls with fuel, fire it up, and just drive it into the paint booth so I can work on it there. So I get the bonnet off from the supercharger, and we'll get her filled up, fire it up, and see if we can make it in there. Okay, as dumb as this sounds, I'm going to try this one-handed. So I've got fuel in the cup. I'm just going to put some in here, and we're going to feed it into the bowl vents. And then do that a couple times. Hopefully get enough fuel into it that we can fire it up. This is not going to be a one-handed job. And get it to drive into the garage. So that'll be the last thing we do today. I think I've had enough juggling with this to last me for a few days. Okay, so we'll try it out here. Hang on. So I made sure I had some good fuel down those bowl vents. I'm going to pull the throttle and see if we've got anything coming out the accelerator circuit. There we go. So we got some fuel in the carburetor, so she ought to be good. So we'll fire it up, see if we can get her in the garage. Well, finally we got it in the garage. So we'll start working on the fuel system, see if it's the fuel pump or if we just have a lot of crud in the system. But when we dump fuel into the carburetor, it runs decent. So we'll start seeing how much fuel we can get out of the fuel filter, and then work our way up to the pump, and we'll take it from there. So hopefully it won't be too hard, but it ran good for about half the trip, and then once things got plugged up, she shut down. So we'll keep on plugging. We'll see what goes on with the fuel.